How we doing? How we doing? How we doing, guys? Welcome to the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, Ovelez. Welcome to episode 115. Man, episode 115. Kind of funny, because this could have been a day where I would have very little to talk about. But thank Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Jason Kidd, and I don't want to thank the Oilers because I would have liked to sweep them in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, you know, we got whooped 8-1 in Edmonton in Game 4. So we're going to come back tomorrow to our home ice and hopefully, gentlemen sweep these boys and claim the first Stanley Cup title in the history of Florida Panthers hockey. And have a championship to celebrate here in Florida, because it's been since the 2013 NBA Finals that we have celebrated any type of glory here. Okay? Any. Period. That's a lot of seasons of that in multiple sports. Baseball, you're right at the top. You ain't escaping me, buddy. You see this season right now? This is what we're used to. That's why you sell $30 tickets and beg people with free food to come to the stadium. Embarrassing. The Heat. Listen, I love Heat culture, but culture can only take you so long, so far. And how far we took us? It took us to the finals twice, but we didn't win them. So that's sad. That's sad. With the same core, older last year, didn't do it. You know what that means? Not enough talent. Wow. What an answer, right? Well, we tried to get Damian Lillard, and Portland blackmailed us not to do it, basically. That's what they did. They extortioned us. And then they gave Drew Holiday to the Celtics. That was hilarious. And then we have our Miami Dolphins. And I'm not saying or incentivizing that we're not going to win one soon, because I believe we can. Wholeheartedly, I believe that we can win a Super Bowl here in Miami with who we have, with the coach, with Tua, with Tyreek, with Jalen Waddle. I believe. Devon Achane. But it hasn't happened. We went to the playoffs the last 2 years. Got bounced in one game and got bounced in another. We got one playoff win and got bounced. We're trying to go farther. But right now, our quarterback is the shortest of the contending quarterbacks, if we're being really honest. Doesn't have the strongest arm. Is not the most mobile. We do have probably the most explosive receiving duo in the league, especially when it comes to speed, with Tyreek and Jalen. In the backfield this year, we're going to have Devon Achane, I think, in a full-time role. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Our defense is going to be iffy, but with Jalen Ramsey and man, I forgot who just picked up that one championship with him. Matt. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm blanking here, but it's okay. It's okay. We got to win a championship for Florida. And the Panthers made the finals last year. They were too tired, too hurt, lost to Tampa Bay, to the Vegas Aces. But this year, baby, we were up 3-0. About to do the sweep, and we got hit with an avalanche. And that game was not fun to watch as a Panthers fan because it ended 8-1, and I went to sleep when it was 4-1. Okay? It looked bad. We were getting sliced and diced on the ice. Sliced and diced. We looked tired, slow, uninterested. We let Connor McDavid score for the first time this series. That's not good. Get 3 points. And that's not good. He has the most points in playoff history, I believe, or in NHL finals. He was like 2 away and he got 3. So, that was at the beginning of the game. And we just didn't look well, but we're coming back home where we won both of them. And I believe that we close it out tomorrow because I think that at home with the home crowd, with our home ice, we play our way and we will win. We scored 4 goals in our 3 wins each. So I think that the Panthers can definitely finish it tomorrow. Moving on to the U.S. Open. Man, I'm going to be really honest to you guys. I have not seen a tournament that exciting to the bitter end, to the last hole, to the last putt of the tournament in a very long time. And, to see Bryson and Rory, the 2 titans of the sport, go back and forth, live golf versus the PGA, and the way that it started to the way that it went, and then the way that it ended, it was incredible. Everybody's going to remember the 55-yard iron shot by Bryson Dechambeau to put it to 3 feet to get the par to win the championship. What I want to talk about is this man's ability to hit the ball at 193 miles an hour, not know where it's going, try to aim, but not really, miss. He missed like, I don't know, like 70% of his fairways, which no champion had ever done. And he kept hitting it into the native stuff and kept getting good lies and good breaks, except for that second shot on 18. Hits it off the tee a mile, but goes so left that his second shot, he's bent over, can't sit straight up because he has a tree hitting him, and then there's a root in front of the ball. And his play, after looking at it for about 3 minutes and standing there and not standing there and going off and think about it again, talking to the caddy, was to hit it into the bunker where nobody in the whole tournament had gone up and down from. Up and down means make par. Like get into the bunker, get it to the green, putt it, save par. And this man, with the pressure of the world on him, with the legacy of Payne Stewart that he loves and went to SMU because of him, and this was the 25th anniversary of his 99 win, and then 5 months after he won that, he tragically died in a plane car accident. And it was kind of dedicated to him because it was at Pinehurst number 2, and it was the first time in 99 that was the U.S. Open had been played at Pinehurst number 2. But that shot to just get it to the bunker, and he had a pretty good lie, a hell of a bunker shot. I mean, but he said it in the interview. He said, like, I've practiced, hundreds of those explosion shots out of the sand, and I knew that I had it. I knew where I had to put it. I knew where my aiming point was, my landing point, and it went perfect. The putt was still scary because he had just bogeyed and missed a 4-footer to keep the lead or stay tied a couple holes back. But to sink that and to see the emotion come out of him, like you can tell, like he really wanted this U.S. Open. And I'm proud of him. He got the second one. Only Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and 2 guys from a bygone era in the 1900s have won 2 or more. And he's going for, he's only 30, so he'll definitely go for 3 and try to go for 4 for the Big Bear. The Open is in about a month. And now we talk about Rory McIlroy. Listen, he's one of the top 3 best in the world, in my opinion. And at major championships, he's always shown up rounds 1 through 3. Always shown up. But you get to the final day, and you just feel it. as a fan, watching the sport and watching, the final round begin, him tee off in the second to last group, and you just feel the pressure on every shot, every iron, every putt. Like, it's just, you can feel Rory's monkey on his back for the 10-year monkey on his back that he hasn't won a major. And to come that close, to be up 2 strokes, 5 holes left, all you have to do is par everything, and you are U.S. Open champion and your 5th major, and the monkey's off your back, and you called off the divorce because you felt good, and, but to lose after chasing him all day and being at 7 under, and then at 6 under, and then back to 7. And all you need to hit is 2 4-foot putts for par. And you miss them both. Clank them, burn the edge. Same thing that Bryson did. Bryson did the same thing at 15. Burned the edge and couldn't capitalize on the par 3 where he hit a wonderful shot. I feel bad for Rory. And if he can win the Open Championship in a month, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to see him win because I saw Bryson win, Scotty won, Xander win at the PGA. So, I would be very happy for Rory to get his 5th major being the Open Championship in his turf in England. He's from Northern Ireland, but he's from, Great Britain, the whole island as a whole. So, he knows that over there. And I really would like for him to win. I think he's going to be favored. People say that he might not recover from this. He did leave the course mighty frustrated. Didn't talk to media. Kind of stormed off. That's what happens when you lose a 2-hole lead, a 2-stroke lead at the U.S. Open in five holes. Like, you can't really, you lose it on a putt. You lost it on a putt. And the contrast between Bryson's elation when he won and Rory's absolute, disappointment and just overall discontent when Bryson made his putt. I mean, he just walked out the room and he looked defeated. And let me tell you, they were one of the few, 2 of the few. By the way, Bryson is one of the first champion in, I believe, 24 years to be over par. The first major champion in 24 years to be over par and win it, or U.S. Open champion, which is crazy. He went 1 over and then won the U.S. Open in a course where Thursday through Friday conditions, when it came to where to land, must be in the fairway. Don't land in the native area. You better hit your irons good. You better hit your drives good. Like, it was very, very tough. Scotty Scheffler finished, I think, at a +9. Scotty Scheffler, number 1 player in the world, Masters champ, 2-time Masters champion, and prohibitive favorite on Thursday, just didn't look himself. Didn't look like Scotty Scheffler. Neither did Xander Schauffele. Neither did Wyndham Clark, the defending champion. I mean, that course defeated people. It absolutely mauled, past major champions. It mauled Tiger, mauled Phil Mickelson. I mean, it just, every hole, one mistake, double, bogey, double bogey. You can play ping pong with the greens, bunker to bunker. If you don't land, if you miss your landing spot, your range by a yard, you're 35 yards away from the hole, even if you hit the green. Like, if you go too long, you're out the back of the green. That's a tough shot. Like, every single shot of that tournament was difficult. Every putt was incredibly difficult. Just to read those greens at a stimp meter of 14, which is fast, and then it was all sunny, so it dried up and it was less receptive, and balls rolled even more. Just a hell of a job by Bryson. Hell of a job by Bryson. Excited for the Open. Excited for the Open Championship. And yeah, the U.S. Open, man, it always, best tournament this year by far. Most exciting finish. And, man, just what a tournament the U.S. Open and the USGA put. The 1000th USGA tournament in history, won by Bryson DeChambeau, an American. You know, it was kind of like the America versus the world, kind of, because Rory's from, you know, Northern Ireland. So he's from an international. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible tournament. Incredible tournament. All right. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Oh, one last thing. The racing, because I'm about to go into basketball heavy. 24 Hours of Le Mans. Incredible race. Rainy. Really rainy. So much so that they had to put out a safety car for an hour and 45 minutes in the middle of the night. And ran 145 an hour and 45 minutes. Even, I mean, the pace cars, the safety cars ran out of gas. They had to go get refueled and kept going. I mean, but an exciting race. At least like 9 hypercars in the lead lap, if not more. Everybody had their turn at the front, but the Ferraris were on a different level, man. From the get-go, got the lead, and it was between them, Porsche, Toyota, some Cadillac, but it was those Ferraris, the 50, the 51, the 83 led a bunch. You know, but Ferrari wins it back-to-back, the works team, Ferrari AF, F Corsa. And just a wonderful car, beautiful car. They go back to back after not winning for 50 years. They broke that curse last year when they came back to the sport, and now they go back to back. Anthony Molina, Nielsen, and Fuoco. Man, an Italian, a Dane, Denmark, with Nielsen, and a Spanish lad with Molina. Wonderful drive. The team was spotless. Toyota was trying to catch him at the end, but they had a miscue. The 50 went by, the 8, and it was over. Alex Palou had a good run. So did Scott Dixon. The car was not fast. That Cadillac needs something. It needs a supercharger. It needs a turbo, something. It can't just be a plain old V8 no more. These guys with the hybrid systems are getting crazy. They're hitting like 210, 220 on the mouse on straight. Like, you know, you got to compete on the straights. Like, you just have to. And with the Porsche and the Ferrari and the Lambo and Peugeot and Alpine, like, they were all passing the Cadillacs. So we looked bad. We looked slow. We were on the pole. We were second. We started second, and immediately we lost that second place to the Porsche, number 6 Penske. They had their fair troubles as well. They led, but they had their fair troubles as well. But very rainy, exciting race. I always love Le Mans. And one day, it's on the bucket list to go and see the Le Mans 24-hour. And in NASCAR, Ryan Blaney wins his first race of the season at the inaugural Iowa Corn 350. The first time the Cup Series, because the Xfinity and the Truck Series had raced there, but at Iowa Speedway. Really exciting race. I love the track. It was repaved, so there's more grip. Tires were going off left and right, as expected. It's a short track. It's a 7/8 of a mile, which is even, I think it's smaller than Darlington, but it's banked and it's fast. It's a rhythmic track. They stay in 6th gear. They're literally in fifth, 6th gear between 3,000 and 9,000 RPMs. That's the whole race. Very rhythmic, a lot of passing, traffic, needed to be good on pit road. Kyle Larson was the fastest, was on the pole, was going to win, I believe, but he got a little bit too aggressive after going into the pits a little early, was in 7th or 8th with brand new tires. He tried to squeeze through, made it 3 wide, and Daniel Suarez kind of slipped, got loose, hit his left rear. He kind of jostled it, tried to save it, and then, he hit Denny Hamlin, and he hit him into the wall, and he could never recover. And then basically Blaney took over after that. Just couldn't catch him. Built the lead. Took 2 tires in the last stop. Didn't take 4. Took 2 tires, and it worked out for them, man. They survived over 100 laps on those tires. He ran a beautiful race. He is the defending champion. He's in the playoffs now. I believe they go to Chicago or Nashville New Hampshire. They go next week. It's on NBC. If you guys are watching, it's not on Fox anymore. It's on NBC. The other half of the season is on NBC, including the championship. But shout out to Ryan Blaney. Shout out to that team. Penske again. I mean, they're just dominant. They're dominant whatever they do. They're not as dominant in NASCAR because of Hendrick and Gibbs, but the Hendrick cars was really strong. They just couldn't get there. Byron was chasing them the last 50 laps, couldn't get there, got as close as 6/10. But through traffic and everything, Blaney just had more speed. And shout out to Ryan Blaney for winning the inaugural Iowa Corn 350. Yeah, it literally was a cornfield. Then it got built 15 years ago. And this is the first time the big boys get to race there. And it was a really exciting race. And can't wait for them to go back there next year and future years to come. All right, time to get to the NBA. All right. Listen, I'm going to say this once. I know that I had Mavericks in 6. I understand that the way the series is going. That's not possible no more. And I take that. I thought that Luka and Kyrie from game 1 were going to assert themselves, and they didn't assert themselves till game 3 and lost at home. And man, that was tough. It was tough to watch that game 3 because Kyrie scores 35. You feel like, okay, no KP. But then you get 31 and 30 from the Jays. Jason with 31. Jalen with 30. Luka, I mean, they go up 3-0. Luka fouls out. 5 minutes left. 4.5. Luka fouls out on a ticky-tack foul. Well, not a ticky-tack. It was a foul, but it seemed like the refs were against the Mavericks in their own house in game 3. I didn't like it. And Twitter didn't like it either because immediately after the game, I saw people saying the winning combination. It was Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and, one of the refs. But, Kyrie goes off for 35. He needed 40. It was a close game until the third quarter. Celtics made a run, started raining down threes. I mean, they weren't hitting threes in the first half, and then they just rained down threes. And then early in the fourth quarter, they would go up 21. The Mavs cut it to 2, but then just couldn't close it out. No Luka on the floor. People, you basically overload on Kyrie. Don't let anybody else get an open shot, and Jaylen Brown made a 3, obviously, not Jason Tatum. And they escape, and we can go into the stats in that game. It was devastating to watch that happen. I mean, especially when Luka fouls out, it was a tough pill to swallow as a fan, wanting to see the best of the best, and being robbed of 4.5 minutes, the game within 5. you take out the best player in the series on the court, as a fan, even as a basketball fan, that you want to see the best product on the floor, a non-Luka Mavericks versus a fully stacked Boston with no KP. Yeah, that's disadvantageous for the fan, let's just say. Okay, so they won 106-99. The Celtics did. Like I said, you get 31 from Tatum. He goes 11 for 26. Well, not that efficient. He shoots 13 threes, makes 4 of them. Al Horford, 3 for 6, 2 for 5 from 3. Drew Holiday went 4 for 9, 1 for 3 from 3, 1 for 3 from 3, 9 points. Played really good defense though. Derek White went 4 for 10, 4 for 9 from 3, 16 points, and Jaylen Brown went 12 for 22. Efficient, over 50%. 2 for 9 from 3. 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 30 points. Pretty good. The bench didn't give him much. Hauser sunk 3 threes. He went 3 for 4. Tillman gave him 3 points, and Pritchard gave him nothing. They shot 37% from 3, 46% from the field. So, something that if you're the Mavericks, you should take advantage of. Got 36 rebounds to the Mavericks 43. That's weird that that the Mavericks lost that game when winning the rebounding battle. The Mavericks had 15 assists. This is where the game really shows up. The Boston Celtics had 26 assists. So, PJ Washington scored 13. He went 3 for 9, 3 for 6 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. went 1 for 2, 2 points. Gafford went 6 points. He went 3 for 3. Kyrie Irving went 13 for 28 in 45 minutes, 4 of 6 from 3, 35. And then Doncic in 38 minutes would have been in the 40s if he didn't fall out. 11 for 27, 1 for 7 from 3, 27 points, 6 and 6. Kleber didn't give him nothing. Hardaway didn't give him nothing. Derek Lively scored 11, 5 for 6, 13 rebounds, so he was active. Josh Green gave him nothing. Dante Exum gave him 2. Josh Green gave him 3. Hardy gave him nothing. So down 3-0, right? Now every single talk host, every single, guy that has a podcast, aka me, your B Souls and stuff like that, especially B Souls, he's a Celtics fan. They said it was going to be a sweep. And I'm not going to lie. I felt like it could be until I heard that Kristaps Porzingis is available, but is not going to start, and it's only going to be in special circumstances. When I heard that, I knew the Mavericks could win. And in classic Luka Kyrie fashion, the Mavericks won with defense, which nobody, was expecting, especially against the Celtics team. But what it means is they can transfer this to game 5 tonight. Tonight is probably the most important. I mean, not probably, is the most important game of the series for the Celtics, because you don't want to go back to Dallas after they just dominated you by 38, third largest margin of victory in NBA Finals history. Most by a team facing elimination in NBA Finals history. And you scored 84 points, which is the lowest point total of your entire season. And it was the Mavericks defense. Tatum, 4 for 10, 1 for 4 from 3, 15 points. Horford, 1 for 1, 3 points. Holiday, 10 points, 4 for 10, 2 for 4 from 3. Derek White, 2 for 8. 2 for 8 from 3, so they were all threes. 6 points. Jaylen Brown, 3 for 12, 1 for 5, 10 points. Tillman gave him 3. Hauser gave him 14. But all the bench numbers are kind of inflated because it was done after the third quarter. End of the third quarter, Joe Mazzulla is pulling his starters and putting in the bench team, and they played the whole fourth quarter. This game was over at halftime when it was 20, and then when they stretched it out to 48, which is the most lead, I believe, in a team facing NBA elimination NBA Finals ever. 48 points the Celtics were down. I think that this could be transferable to Game 5 in Boston, the defense part of it. Kyrie looking this good on offense, that's debatable because of what Boston has done to him psychologically. And Luka getting the calls he got, as long as he doesn't complain, I believe he'll get more calls. That's just me. That's what I saw. He wasn't complaining and he was getting calls. So, Kristaps Porzingis is available tonight, and I believe they will play him. But if they lose him, this series gets turned upside down because he's the X factor. He's the one that they can't cover. So PJ Washington in Game 4, he went 2 for 3 from 3, knocked down 2 threes, 6 points. Derrick Jones Jr. knocked out a 3. He went 1 for 2, 2 for 4, 5 points. Gafford went 1 for 2, 7 points. Kyrie Irving went 10 for 18, very efficient. 1 for 6 from 3, don't like that, but he scored 21. Remember, they played 31. Kyrie played 31 minutes. Luka played 33 minutes. PJ Washington, 14. Derrick Jones Jr., 17. These guys are fresh. Daniel Gafford, 10 minutes. These guys are fresh. They got legs. They blowed them out, made the fourth quarter basically a non-negotiable. Let the bench teams run it out. When the bench came in, Tim Hardaway went 5 for 7 from 3, hit his first 5. So that if that carries over into Boston, that could be something. Kleber hit a 3. Who else hit a 3? Derek Lively hit his first 3 of the season. He also went 4 for 5, 12 rebounds, 11 points. Josh Green hit a 3. Dante Exum hit 2 out of 4 threes and went 4 for 7, 10 points. And Hardy hit a 3 and went 2 for 5 points. So if that carries over, now the Celtics shooting 36%, I doubt it, especially at home. 34% from 3, I could see it, but at home, off a loss, they're basically unbeatable. They still lost the rebounding battle, 52-31. If we see that this game, they're also losing the game. And they only had 18 assists. And the Mavericks had 21. So assists was hard to come by in this game. They just got to muck it up, guys. That's what the Mavericks have to do. They have to muck up the game. Luka and Kyrie have to be enough pestilence at the point of attack defensively for Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to just get off the ball and start the passing frenzy without a plan. That's when Boston gets in trouble. When the ball's popping, but nobody has a plan. Drive, fake drive, turn around, step back jumper, trying to drive into people like that hectic. That's what Dallas has to do. In game 4, Luka dictated the pace to a T. They ran his game at his speed. He got into transition more, which got him lobs, the first of the series. And, once Luka and Kyrie had it going, it is human nature to be like, holy shit, that guy's hot. I need to double off him. And once you double, he kicked out to PJ Washington. He got the ball inside Derek Lively. He kicked out to Kleber. He kicked out to Kyrie, or Kyrie kicked out to him. And by the way, they both went 1 for 15 from 3, and they still won by 38. So just so you get an idea of the defensive, masterclass that, Dallas played. I believe that they can win this game 5. Now, if the Celtics win, it'll be a gentleman's sweep. Luka will learn from this and definitely come back with a vengeance next year and the years to come to definitely get a title, and I think he will. He'll win the MVP next year. I believe that he'll go after that, like seriously. Maybe average 35, like Embiid was doing. Kyrie, didn't show up. It's gonna be like, oh, Kyrie didn't show up in the first 2 games in Boston. Psychologically, they tuned him out. And basically, it's gonna be a bad look on Kyrie unless he has a if Kyrie goes for 40 tonight and just has a classic Kyrie game, I'd be so happy. So happy. Especially if they win. I'd be so happy because, like, that kid, all he does is play basketball. And, like, all the stuff that, he's gone through and how happy he is now and balanced in his life. I would love it for him to just go off in Boston. Just go off. Steph Curry style in game 3. Just Steph Curry style. Just go off. In game 4, my bad. Of the finals in 2022. 43. 8 threes. Just go off. Go to the paint. 18 of his 21 points were in the paint. He was getting to the paint. He was getting the layups. He was getting fouled. Stay in there. You and Luka. If you guys stay in the paint and dominate the paint, they are going to double you in the paint because you're going to kill them. Now, this has to follow also defense on the other side. If you're creating turnovers like you were in game 4, you can get out in transition and get easy buckets and get a lead and build on it just like you did in Dallas. I don't think Luka cares about Boston. He's not going to succumb to the pressure. I think he's just going to keep pouring it on if it's there. I think the faucet is open for him tonight. I mean, he averages more than anybody in NBA history, including MJ in elimination games, 35. I'm just looking for a big night from Luka, from Kyrie, and the others. Either PJ Washington, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, Derrick Jones Jr., Gafford, Lively, one of the Exum, one of the Kleber, one of those guys has to give me 10 to 15 tonight. And we win, and they win this game and take it back to Dallas for a game 6 where you're going to have the crowd on your side. Boston's going to be feeling it, and then you get to a game 7. Not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it's possible. It's a 3-1 series. People have come from 3-1. Okay? Now, I do know the context that the 3-1 is in after a 3-0 deficit. I understand. But people have come back to 3-1. It happened in 2016. But I believe, unfortunately, I think the Celtics go out with a bang tonight. And I'm not talking about Jason Tatum going for 40. I'm not talking about Jaylen Brown going for 40, although he might. I'm talking about just an all-around team effort, threes from everywhere, and just like a barrage. Now, this is taking into consideration that Dallas doesn't come defensively how they did in game 4. Because if they do, this will be a battle. And if it's a battle within 5 minutes, if Luka's not fouled out, within 5 minutes, if it's a war, 2 points, 3 points, 5 points, whichever way, I got the Mavericks. It's just Luka. Luka's been there before, man. Luka's at 17 years old. This guy was winning Euro Cup championships. Like, he's been there before. This doesn't affect him. And I feel like in those moments, the ones that get tight have always been the Celtics. When it's a tight game, like a tight game. Tight game. I'm not talking about a favored game where like you're up 8 or they came back from down 21 and you had been comfortable. No. I'm talking about a tight game through and through, less than 10 points, all game long, a war. I got Kyrie and Luka in that, and Jason Kidd in that scenario. If Porzingis does not play tonight, I believe he will. But if he does not, or if he's not impactful, the Mavericks will win this game. Porzingis is the only guy that can switch, that can basically overweigh the balance. The balance is simple. If the Mavericks play defense like they did in game 4, in game 4, Boston will not shoot a good percentage from 3. If you're contesting every shot, If you're hustling on defense, make it second, third efforts to contest, to go for rebounds, and get in transition, they will crumble. It's in their DNA. Not in Jaylen Brown, but Jason Tatum. Let's talk about Jason Tatum a bit. He's shooting the worst percentage in the history of the NBA playoffs from three. He's shooting 29% this playoff. 29. He takes like 8 or 9 of them. If I'm Joe Mazzulla, I just go straight up to him and say, bro, if you're not driving, I don't want you shooting. Especially from three. You could take your 17, 18-footer, but I don't want you shooting from three. You're messing up my math. Every time you take one, I have to consider that you most likely will miss it. Unlike Jaylen Brown, unlike Jrue Holiday, unlike Derek White, unlike Al Horford, unlike Pritchard, unlike Hauser, I have to take into consideration that my best player can't shoot a three for his life, especially in the big moments. This is 10 games of the NBA Finals we've seen Jason Tatum. 10 games, and he's played like shit. Some people just don't got it. I told you at the beginning of this series, the dog is with the Mavs. There is another dog in Boston, but he's not respected as a dog on the team. He's a leader. He's the alpha in reality, but he's not. And even if he gets the Finals MVP, let's say Jaylen Brown goes for 35 and 10 tonight, dominates in the fourth quarter, and he gets the Finals MVP. Will people finally come around to the fact that Jaylen Brown, because of his mentality towards the game, might be a better player than Jason Tatum? Now, most people might say, nah, but the talent, the 6'9", the fade, the defensive prowess. I don't care if you are 6'9", 220, fastest guy on the court, got dribble moves like Kyrie, got a shot like Steph Curry, if you don't have that dog in you. I don't care, because when the moment gets to the moment, when that ball's in your hands, and I've seen you, top of the key, 35 seconds left, a minute left, 45 seconds left, 10 seconds left, top of the key, 3, doink, brick. That's what you've shown me. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown has hit game-tying threes at the buzzer, has hit critical threes, gone to the rim, huge and ones, huge fouls. And if you want to tell me, oh, Jason Tatum just did a lot more defensively this series, check the stats. Luka is cooking this man. Cooking. He has an over 60% field goal percentage when Tatum's on him. He ain't doing nothing on defense. He's supposed to stop the best player, right? You want to be the best defender? You're not the best defender on your team. That's Jaylen Brown. If not, that's Jrue Holiday. If not, Derek White. All they have their different attributes. But the dog that wants the ball at the end and is not afraid of the outcome is Jaylen Brown. That's just plain and simple. That's what it is. And if Jaylen Brown, the NBA wants to give it to Tatum. The voters want to give it to Tatum. Why? Because they gave Jaylen Brown the Eastern Conference Finals trophy, the Larry Bird trophy, in order to set up Jason to get the big one. But if you don't play up to snuff, you ain't gonna get that trophy. And then your legacy will be tainted because your second star or your co-star is the one that carried you through the finals. And that's embarrassing for the legacy of Boston. I mean, you're going to be a champion, but there's going to be that question mark. Is he really the best, though? Is he? Because in that regard, these playoffs, I can mention at least 8 players that have considerably, played better than you. Considerably. Luka, Shea, Ant, Kyrie. You look at Jaylen Brown. You look at Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. I mean, all of these dudes played better than you these playoffs. All of them. Jokic, obviously. And, I mean, even LeBron, bro. Even LeBron. At 39 years old, he played better than you. He's averaged 25 and shot like 40% from three. So, if he does win the Finals MVP, it will be a discussion tomorrow. Who deserves the most credit? And if you ask me, throughout the whole playoffs, it should be Jaylen Brown. But this is a team, and that's what we're going to go back to, because that's what we said at the beginning of this series. This is a team. There's not a super duper uber star. There's not a Luka. There's not an Ant. There's not a Giannis, an Embiid, a LeBron, a KD. There's not a Steph. There's not one of those on that team. It's just a really well-built machine by the brain trust of Brad Stevens and a good selection of coach. I have to give Mazzulla some credit. I don't like him and his demeanor, but he's a very smart basketball mind. He's highly analytical. So if if they lose this series, it just proves that analytics, it's about the Jimmies and Joes, not the zeros and X's, not the X's and O's. But overall, this is it. Jason Tatum. This game right here, this is a game that will either stamp your legacy or forever stain your legacy. And not gonna lie, from the way you've been shooting and how Luka and Kyrie are gonna come defensively, I think it might be a stain. Even if you win, remember, even if you win, it might be a stain on your legacy, because that trophy for the Finals MVP that's supposed to go to the best player on the best team that won the championship is not going to be you. And that's what happens. That's what I said at the beginning. I was like, watch Jaylen Brown in that Finals MVP. If they win, I just felt it. I saw it 4 years ago. He got walked down by Steph Curry in his own building. Up to 1 with the better team. Are you kidding me? You're going to let the best shooter of all time and an assassin come into your house and do that to you? He's 6'3". You know how big Luka is? 6'9". Okay? Passing like Magic Johnson. So controlling the game like LeBron, like a GP, like a Chris Paul. You really think you really think that you're gonna go up against this monster and show up with your subpar game and you're gonna get rewarded for it? You averaged 30 last year. You averaged 27 this year. What are you averaging? Like 21 these playoffs? 22 on horrible shooting. I mean, I'm talking about horrible shooting splits. So if Jason Tatum doesn't have a good game, they could still win. But if Kyrie and Luka come defensively minded how they did game 4, I can definitely see this going back to Dallas. In other news, just some sprinkles. Klay Thompson unfollows and deletes everything from Warriors from his Instagram. Big thing or no big thing? Well, if I'm being honest, I think Joe Lacob, the owner for the Warriors, is tired of paying for the luxury tax. especially on older players. He spent, and the organization has spent, over $600 million over what they already paid the players, what they're paying the players. That is just the penalty tax that they have incurred for 4 out of the last 6 years. $600 million. Wow. So if Joe Lacob says, "Hey man, I'm done, man. I'm done paying this luxury tax. I got to get younger. You know, Clay, I love you. You're going to be your jersey will be retired here, but I just can't pay you." Now, it's not necessarily what it means, but it's something. Draymond said that he laughed. I don't know if that was facetious or he was genuinely amused. But Clay could help a lot of people. Stephen A. said the Knicks. Orlando has been around. Maybe send them to Wemby. Give him a shooter like that. You're talking about a Hall of Famer, first ballot, 4-time champion, knows what it takes, hard worker, no bullshit, just likes being on his boat and playing basketball. Has fought through everything, Achilles, ACL, anything you can think of. Has shown up in the big moments. Has cachet. You bring that into a young Orlando Magic team. You bring that into a gritty Knicks team. You bring that into Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey type of team. You can make something. He's going to be getting open shots. If you put him with an act you surround him with pieces. Not him, but him as a piece, being part of a much greater whole. Even if Dallas wins this championship, miraculously, I think Klay Thompson would be a guy that they might target. Put him in that. I mean, you could even bring him off the bench if you want for a lightning spark, but, move Kyrie to the 2, make him the 3. That makes small lineup, shooters everywhere, can't defend it. I'm just saying. Miami, I swear to God. If you have the chance to get Klay Thompson, you guys love older players, so this is right up your alley. If you have a chance to get one of the greatest, if not the second greatest shooter of all time, arguably, if you have a chance for this man to come in there and teach you guys how to shoot, it'd be nice, but probably not going to happen. Brandon Ayuk is blogging on TikTok his situation with his contract. And he posted a TikTok that he was talking to Jaden Daniels, the rookie QB for the Commanders. And he said that they don't want him. They said that he feels like they don't want him back. They tried to give him $26.5 million. Now, if I was Brandon, would I take that to stay with that team? Yes. But also we have to think about what Brandon thinks. Brandon's a number 1 receiver. Brandon is an all-pro caliber receiver. And he just saw JJ get $35 million. Jamar Chase is about to get a big bag. Tyreek is at 30. So what do you think he feels coming up on his big contract after his rookie year? He's going to want the bag. And I don't blame him for it. He is a number 1 receiver. He can change an offense. People want him in New England. No, I don't want him over there. I want him with a quarterback that will love him. Jaden Daniels will love him. Now, it's going to be him and Terry McLaurin, which is insane with Jahan Dotson. It's insane to think that that's what they would roll out with if he goes to Commanders. But if I'm him and I want a ring, And I'm looking at the best place to go for a ring. For future rings. For being able to stay there, my career. San Francisco's probably the best you're going to do. Unless you want to go to the Kansas City, which I'm sure they'll take you for sure. you get Kelsey, Xavier Worthy, and Brandon Ayuk with Hollywood Brown. That's insane for Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think the San Francisco 49ers would like to even face that anymore. So I think that he will get signed again to the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's just too much of a valuable piece. But they did draft Pearsall out of Florida. So he might be, they're calling him the new Cooper Kupp because of his videos of his footwork. So if Brandon Ayuk is out there, man, that is an absolute nuclear weapon that somebody can add. Not New England. Please. Not New England. Aaron Rodgers is not showing up to camp again. Rumors are that he is on an ayahuasca trip in Costa Rica. I don't know. I would like to think not. I think that he is training and doing everything, but he was there for all the voluntary OTAs with the rookies and everything. I think, it takes some time. He's going to take the fines, but, he's going to take his time. Although I think he should be there. T. Higgins signed his tender a day ago. He was at practice today, I believe. They signed him for a 1-year contract, so he's betting on himself to hit the market next year and probably try to get somewhere around 33 to 35 million, depending on how good he is this year. I think he's going to be a monster. They have a possibility to win the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase healthy. But, at the same time, I don't think that he's going to be a Bengal for very much longer. This year and then next year, I think you look at, again, the Commanders. You look at Arizona Cardinals to add him to Marvin Harrison Jr. There is a lot. That's another team for Brandon Ayuk that can sneak up and try to go get him right there. Marvin Harrison Jr., Brandon Ayuk. I like that combination. If that happens, you heard it here first. That would be very nice for Kyler. Jacksonville would be nice. Him and Brian Thomas with Christian Kirk. That would be a very nice spot. But overall, I think that he's going to stay with San Francisco. It gives him the best chance at a ring. He could build a legacy there. He's already built a legacy there in playoffs and stuff like that. So I think that he goes back to the 49ers. But they have to give him a bag. They're going to have to settle. They have to give him 29, 28. Maybe he's asking for 30 flat. He's seeing what his friends are getting paid, and, he wants part of that action. Next, Mookie Betts out for a month at least with a fractured hand. Actually, no timetable for his return. Never mind. No surgery needed, but unfortunately, he caught a 97 mile per hour fastball on the wrist last night, and he fractured his hand. So no surgery, but he's going to be down for a while. I don't think it'll hurt the Dodgers that much. It is one of the best leadoff hitters in the history of the league. Former MVP. I mean, everything that goes with Mookie Betts, all the hits, home runs, even though his power numbers are not what there were last year, this time this year. But he's going to be a huge loss. I don't know who they're going to move up. I don't know who they're going to put in the number one. Maybe Shohei leads off. Maybe Freddie leads off. Gavin Lux, Andy Pages. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll see starting today. Garrett Cole will start his first start of the season on Wednesday. Aaron Boone has said, and he is coming off the IL. I think that he's going to pitch good. He has to knock out the rust. But it's Garrett Cole. AL Cy Young winner last year, one of the most dominant pitchers the last 5 years. I think we're going to get Garrett Cole. And if they get Garrett Cole, that rotation looks mighty good right now. If you got Cole, Rodon, Stroman, Hill, and then Schmidt, I think you're cooking with grease there. I mean, especially with Aaron Judge, 26 bombs, leading the league. He's trying to break his record. He was off in May, and then June and July he's going bonkers right now. Giancarlo's hitting well with power. Volpe's kind of in a rut now, but he was hitting really well. But overall, that team they're the best. They're the best team in the league right now, record wise. Okay, so what do we have today? Reds Pirates. Delayed top of the first. Quinn Priester starting as the pitcher. Actually, no, the pitcher it's delayed, so they're not going to tell us. It should be Skeens because Jared Jones went yesterday, and Skeens has been pitching his ass off. He had another 10 strikeout game. His last appearance, I mean, the kid is incredible. Jared Jones is incredible, although he got hit around a little bit yesterday. We got Red Sox Blue Jays after the Red Sox beat the Dodgers and the Yankees in series. They're in the top of the first. Padres Phillies. They're in the top of the third. This is all 0-0. That's why there's no, Cardinals Marlins. We suck. We're probably going to lose that game, unfortunately. Tigers Braves pretty good. Mets Rangers. Rangers should get that. Giants Cubs. I'm leaning Cubs. No, I'm leaning Giants. Jordan Hicks is on the bump. He's been pitching absolutely stellar this year after being a closer last year. Dodgers Rockies should be an absolute massacre. Even though James Paxton, but Qual Quanto's going to get hit. And then Brewers Angels. Carlo F. Rodriguez, I think, is the rookie, versus Jose Soriano. Angels might have a shot in this one because of the pitching. The standings as they stand right now. The AL East is done. Besides New York and Baltimore, they're 1.5 games apart. Yankees have the best record in the league, 50-24, first team to hit to 50 wins. Boston is 12 games back, caught a little bit up because they beat the Yankees in the series 2-1. Toronto's 13.5 games back, so they can fight with Boston there. And Tampa Bay's 15 games back. So those three teams are literally fighting for the last spot in the wild card because Minnesota has it right now, and Boston is 3 games back of them. So that's tough. That's tough right now. Being 12 back in the division and 3 back in the wild card, gotta pick it up right there. They lead. I think they're leading the league with the A's in errors. So very, very uncharacteristic of the Boston, Red Sox. But their pitching's really good. Tanner Houck is definitely a Cy Young contender. Cutter Crawford's really good. Bayo really good. So they've been pitching well. Baltimore's been pitching great. Corbin Burns is exactly what he advertised. The trade was absolutely spot on. Gunnar Henderson is a monster and is on an MVP case right now with 22 bombs. Adley Rutschman's playing his ass off. Anthony Santander's hitting the shit out of the ball. So is Colton Cowser, Westberg. Just need Gaston Holiday to go up. That's Mateo's hitting, Mullins, like everybody. Just need Jackson Holiday to move up and hopefully, start his career in earnest. After that horrible 0-40-84 start at the beginning of the season. That was bad. Toronto, not much to say. They're good offensively sometimes, bad offensively sometimes. They get a good pitching outing. They get a bad pitching outing. It's tough. I mean, their pitching's really good. You got Gausman, you got Berrios, you got Yusuke. But the run support is just bad. Tampa Bay, they're trying to get stuff back together, but without that super ooper star, it's tough. And their pitching this year it got decimated before the season even started. McClanahan, Spriggs. I mean, you go down the list of their pitchers that are hurt. Cleveland, is winning the Central by 5 games over the Royals, 5.5 over Minnesota. Detroit's 11 back. White Sox got Luis Robert back. He's hit bombs, and they're still 27 games back. I mean, they're not recovering, but for him to be out there is nice. I love watching him play and hit. He looks healthy, so hopefully he just has a monster season and gets traded out of there. Because he's a duper star. He could help Tampa Bay. He could help Toronto. Don't let the Yankees get him. He could help KC with Bobby Witt. Detroit with their people. Possibly Atlanta, Washington with C.J. Abrams, Milwaukee to add to William Contreras, the Pirates with O'Neal Cruz. Like, he can go places and do some big things and be some part of a special team. But he's in the White Sox and he's dying. In the West, Seattle's 8.5 games up on Texas. 8.5. It's over. Unless the Seattle has a catastrophic fall off, like George Kirby goes bad or gets hurt, Gilbert, Miller, Wu, I think is gonna start in the next 2 days, I believe. You got Castillo. I mean, that pitching staff is nasty. Julio's hitting again. Kyle Raleigh. You have, Josh Rojas. Everybody's kind of hitting. So the Seattle Mariners are going really good right now. Texas is all right. They just need more run support. And their pitchers, man, you need Scherzer, you need DeGrom for those you need those game winners that you just put them there and you know that you're going to get a solid 7-8 innings of 1 to 2 run ball and you can play offense. Houston's figuring it out. They're 9 games back. Figuring it out. Jordan's playing well. Jose Altuve hit a bomb yesterday. Breggie's been hitting better. Just got to figure out on the bump, man. Ronel Blanco's pitching great. Verlander skipped the start. Aaron Getty's on up and down. Hunter Brown's been pitching better over the last 3 games. Need to see Fromber, Vasquez. We don't know if we're gonna see him. So they're fighting. The Angels are 13.5 games back. A's are 17 games back. A's have really good young players, but just have to. They have to put it together. Soderstrom, Geloff, Langoliers is really good. Rooker's really good. You have that kid, Lawler's really good. So, but they're kind of hurt. Esteury Ruiz not playing. Their pitching staff is god awful, unfortunately, besides Mason Miller, of course. And then in the National League, Phillies are up 8 games on Atlanta. So that's kind of over as well. Washington 12 games back. Mets are 13.5. Marlins suck, 24 games back. The Phillies are hitting on all cylinders. Pitching's really well, even though Zach Wheeler got kind of hit, really bad in his last outing by the Orioles. That was yesterday or the day before. They put 8 on him, I think, most in his career. But Harper's hitting. Schwarber's hitting. Castellanos is hitting. Bohm is still hitting lights out. Edmundo Sosa is hitting. Like, everybody's doing their part for that team. And then the pitching, Ranger Suarez, Wheeler, Nola, Dominguez, like that it's solid. It's really, really solid. Atlanta, Noah Acuna, you can see that, they're sputtering. Matt Olson kind of woke up the bat a little bit. Austin Riley has woken up the bat a bit. Still need Ozzie Albies. Still need Orlando Arcia. Still need Sean Murphy to wake up bat-wise. Their pitching is on and off. If Chris Sale or Max Fried is on, they're really good. Schellenbach has been up and down in a few starts. The Strider missing. Ronaldo Lopez has pitched amazingly, but the Strider injury is really tough on them. In the Central, Milwaukee leads by 6.5 over St. Louis and 8 over Pittsburgh and 8 over Cincinnati and 8.5 over the Cubs. So if there is a full division that I feel can do something to possibly win, that it's not the team that's in the front right now, it would be the NL Central. I like the Pirates as they go forward. There's, Reynolds is starting to hit. Brian Hayes, Connor Joe, O'Neal Cruz. They're starting to get her around. Triolo, batting wise, and then they're pitching Jarrett Jones, Skeens, Keller. They got a nice little rotation there. Cincinnati, Hunter Green has to just be consistent. Lodolo has to just be Lodolo. Andrew Abbott has to be a shutdown pitcher. And, Ellie has to hit. He's starting to hit better, but he can't strike out. He has to keep hitting doubles. He has to keep running on the bases. Remember, this team is without Matt McClain. Benson has to hit bombs. Steers playing really well. Fairchild, Fraley, everybody's playing really well, but you would like more from this team, from how talented they are. And then the Cubs, Morel's hitting well, and Dansby and Bellinger, Happ, but 8.5 games back, with a good pitching staff, with Shota doing what he does. I mean, absolutely dominating the NL Cy Young race, I think, in my opinion, with the AL for me is definitely Tarek Skubal. That guy's a beast for the Detroit Tigers. But in the NL, I think Shota has been the best pitcher so far this year. But 8.5 games back, they just got to claw back. They have Assad, Shota, Justin Steele is back. So I Wicks. Hopefully he's not totally completely hurt. But they have some good pieces there. And then the Dodgers are eight games up on the Padres. 8.5 on Arizona. That's starting to turn it around. But the pitching with Gallen and Keller being down, it's tough with Fott being your number one. That could be a team that I could definitely see maybe going after Garrett. Garrett from the White Sox. Garrett Crochet. I could definitely see the Arizona Cardinals being buyers at the deadline to try to get that elite arm to pair up with the other two, because they're down right now and they need it if they're going to make a playoff push in the wild card. San Francisco has a good rotation as well. Jordan Hicks, you have Logan Webb, Harrison. You just got to put it together. Offensively, Ramos is basically playing is basically an all-star. Soler hasn't been what they wanted. Tyro Estrada's hitting well. Slater's hitting well. They just need more offense. And then Colorado's 18 games back. Ezekiel Tovar is going to be a superstar. McMahon is a great hitter. I like Feltner, Ryan Feltner, the pitcher. I like him. But man, tough being there. Love Chuck Nasty, but 18 games back, you're not going nowhere. And that is your MLB standings. If it ends tonight, we will start talking more about the NFL. If it doesn't end tonight, which I hope it does not, Wednesday we will break down. Thursday for you guys, we will break down Game 5 and look forward to Game 6 in Dallas, if it's that. Also, tomorrow, if the Panthers win, we will be celebrating. If not, we'll be talking about Game 6. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, follow me on all my socials. Links are in the description. I love you guys, and I leave you with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede